The text message glowed on the screen of the forgotten phone like a neon sign advertising my own stupidity. Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. He's working late again on those paintings nobody wants. The clueless idiot actually thinks he's talented, LOL. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My wife Sienna had left her backup phone in our studio bathroom, carelessly tucked behind the spare toilet paper rolls like some amateur spy novel prop. Or maybe she'd wanted me to find it. Maybe after 8 months of sneaking around, she was tired of the charade. I'm Eliot March, 42 years old, and I've spent the last 15 years perfecting the art of being invisible. Not literally invisible, though God knows my paintings might as well be for all the attention they get. I mean the special kind of invisible where your wife talks through you at dinner parties like you're a particularly boring piece of furniture, where her gallery friends forget your name, mid-conversation, even though you've met them dozens of times, where you're the punchline to jokes you're not supposed to overhear but always do. The phone buzzed again in my paint-stained hands. Wear that red dress tonight. Travis wants to see it on his bedroom floor, LOL. Can't believe you're still married to that loser. Travis Colby. Of course it was Travis freaking Colby. I sat there on our paint-splattered toilet seat, holding the digital evidence of my marriage's rotting corpse, and I laughed. Actually laughed out loud, the sound echoing off the bathroom tiles. Because the universe has a sick sense of humor, and I was apparently the setup to its absolute favorite joke. Travis Colby was everything I wasn't. Rich from family money he pretended he'd earned himself. Confident in that aggressive way that comes from never being told no. Connected to every gallery owner, critic, and collector in the city. He wore suits that cost more than my monthly rent and drove a red Porsche he'd named Destiny, because of course he had. And now he was sleeping with my wife. The bathroom door opened. I'd forgotten to lock it. "Eliot, what are you doing in here?" Sienna stood in the doorway, still wearing her gallery clothes. Black dress, expensive heels, the pearl necklace I'd saved for months to buy her on our 10th anniversary. She barely wore it anymore. I held up the phone. "Reading your messages. They're very illuminating." Her face cycled through 5 distinct expressions in about 2 seconds. Confusion, recognition, fear, calculation, and finally settling on cold defiance. "That old thing? I thought I'd thrown it out months ago." Apparently not well enough. I stood up, setting the phone on the sink between us like evidence at a crime scene. "Travis? Sienna? Really? The guy who looks like a stock photo labeled douchebag entrepreneur? The guy who says synergy unironically?" She didn't deny it. That's what killed me. Not tears, not apologies, not even a good lie. Just this ice-cold calculation in her eyes as she decided how to play this. "You weren't supposed to find out like this, Eliot." "Oh, how was I supposed to find out? Skywriting, billboard on the interstate, maybe a singing telegram." "Don't be dramatic. You're always so damn dramatic about everything." She walked past me, poured herself a glass of wine from the bottle we kept in the studio like we were discussing what to have for dinner. "We haven't been happy in years. You know that." "We? Or you and your trust fund boyfriend?" "Travis understands ambition, Eliot. Travis has actual vision for the future. He's not content painting the same sad little landscapes that no one wants to buy, living in this cramped studio apartment, pretending that someday you'll be discovered." She took a long sip. "He's going places. We're going places together." The words landed like carefully aimed punches. Clean, efficient, practiced. She'd probably been rehearsing this speech for months. "How long?" I asked quietly. "Does it really matter? Humor me." She sighed like I was being tedious. 8 months. Since the spring gallery benefit. He was there looking at investment opportunities, and we just connected. 8 months. While I'd been teaching weekend art classes to pay our rent. While I'd been taking handyman jobs to afford her gallery space. While I'd been telling myself that things would get better if I just worked harder, painted better, tried more. "He's investing in my gallery expansion," Sienna continued. "We're business partners. It's a real partnership, not whatever this is." She gestured vaguely at our studio, at me, at 15 years of marriage. "Partners? That's what we're calling adultery now?" "Grow up, Eliot. This is business. This is my career, my future. Something you'd understand if you actually had a career instead of a hobby." I should have yelled, should have thrown something. Instead, I smiled. Actually smiled. "You're absolutely right. I should grow up." That smile worried her. I could see it in the way her hand tightened on her wine glass. Good. My neighbor, Mrs. Patricia Fenn, had been a detective for 32 years before retiring to the apartment next door. She was 73, sharp as a tack, and missed absolutely nothing that happened in our building. She brought over coffee the next morning, her knowing eyes taking in my rumpled clothes and the fact that I'd clearly slept on the studio couch. "You look like hell, Eliot." "Feel like it too." I took the coffee gratefully. It was good, real coffee, not the cheap instant stuff I usually drank. "Want to talk about it?" I told her everything. The phone, the messages, the 8 months, Travis Colby, Sienna's cold dismissal of our entire marriage. Mrs. Fenn listened without interrupting, occasionally nodding, her detective brain clearly processing every detail. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Then, "What do you want to do about it?" "I don't know. Divorce her? Key his stupid Porsche? Become a monk and move to Tibet?" "Those are all reactive responses. I'm asking what you actually want." She leaned forward, her eyes intense. "In my 32 years as a detective, I learned something important about people like your wife and this Travis character. They're bullies. Sophisticated bullies in expensive clothes, but bullies nonetheless. And bullies win because most people either don't fight back or fight back stupidly." "I'm not going to hurt anyone, Mrs. Fenn. I'm not suggesting you do. Violence is for amateurs. I'm suggesting you outthink them, outmaneuver them. Let them destroy themselves while you document every second." She pulled out her phone. "Let me show you something about fighting smart instead of fighting hard." The gallery opening was scheduled for 3 weeks away. Sienna had been working on it for 6 months. Her big moment, the event that would supposedly establish her as a serious art dealer instead of just another gallery owner. She'd invited everyone who mattered, critics, collectors, socialites, minor celebrities, and of course Travis. She'd also secretly submitted one of my paintings under Travis's name. I found the paperwork 2 days later, hidden in her office files. My signature forged, Travis's name on the official submission form, a whole elaborate story about his emerging talent and fresh perspective. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. If the painting flopped, I'd be humiliated as the talentless hack whose work couldn't even succeed under someone else's name. If it succeeded, Travis would take all the credit, Sienna would be the brilliant dealer who discovered him, and I'd be nothing. Less than nothing. The painting they'd stolen was Blue Morning. 6 months of work, my best piece. The one I'd actually believed might finally break through. Mrs. Fenn helped me photograph everything, every document, every forged signature, every email between Sienna and Travis discussing their plan. "Documentation," she kept saying. In my experience, people always underestimate the power of good documentation. My friend Miguel, who shared studio space in our building and actually sold his abstract sculptures regularly, nearly choked on his beer when I showed him everything. "That's your Blue Morning piece. You spent half a year on that thing. I watched you work on it every single day." "I know." "So what are we going to do about it?" "Because we're doing something, right? Tell me we're doing something." "We're going to let them hang themselves." I pulled out the canvas I'd been working on secretly for the past week, a perfect copy of Blue Morning, identical in every way except for one crucial detail. Hidden in the bottom right corner, worked into the brushstrokes so subtly you'd never notice unless you knew exactly where to look, was my real signature. Not Sienna's clumsy forgery, but my actual signature technique that I'd been using for 15 years. Miguel stared at it, then at me, then started grinning. "You sneaky bastard. You're going to swap them?" "We're going to swap them. And we're going to let Travis hang my painting under his name, and we're going to let everyone see exactly what kind of people they really are." Travis's office building had surprisingly terrible security for a place that supposedly housed disruptive innovators and visionary investors. The night guard, a tired-looking guy named Dennis, was more interested in his phone than the security cameras. Miguel distracted him with a fake delivery problem while I slipped upstairs with a copied painting under my arm. Travis's office was on the 15th floor, and it was exactly what I'd expected. Minimalist glass desk, motivational posters about crushing it and disrupting the paradigm, framed photos of him shaking hands with minor celebrities and local politicians. The painting, my painting, sat on an easel by the floor-to-ceiling window, waiting to be transported to Sienna's gallery. I made the switch in 4 minutes flat. The original Blue Morning went carefully into my bag. The copy, identical except for that hidden signature, took its place on the easel. Same dimensions, same frame, same everything. Unless you were looking for differences, you'd never know. I was halfway to the elevator, heart pounding, when I heard voices echoing down the hall. Travis and someone else, their footsteps getting closer. The supply closet saved my life. I wedged myself between mop buckets and industrial cleaning supplies, barely breathing, while Travis walked past not 3 feet away, discussing his painting's projected value with whoever he was with. Sienna thinks it could go for $25,000, maybe $30 if we get the right buyer interested, Travis was saying. Not bad for a first piece, right? You paint? The other voice sounded skeptical. Since when? I dabble. Have been for years, actually. It's all about vision, you know? Seeing what other people miss. Having the courage to put that vision on canvas. I bit my tongue hard enough to taste blood, staying absolutely still until their voices faded down the hall. The gallery opening arrived like a storm I'd been watching build on the horizon for 3 weeks. Sienna wore the red dress, Travis's favorite, apparently. She air-kissed guests, laughed too loudly at jokes that weren't funny, and carefully avoided making eye contact with me even though I'd insisted on attending. You don't need to be here, she'd said that morning, her voice tight. This is a professional event. Wouldn't miss it for the world, dear. The painting hung center stage under perfect gallery lighting, like a religious icon. People clustered around it with wine glasses in hand, making the kind of vague comments people make when they want to sound cultured, but don't actually know anything about art. Travis stood beside it in an expensive suit, accepting congratulations with false modesty. Thank you, yes, it's quite personal to me. The morning light represents hope. You see, the possibility of new beginnings. The blue tones suggest both melancholy and peace. He was explaining my painting, my vision, my 6 months of early mornings and late nights and aching hands, my hope and melancholy and peace. Miguel appeared at my elbow, vibrating with barely controlled rage. I'm going to hit him. I'm seriously going to walk over there and punch him in his smug face. Not yet. I pulled out my phone. Just watch. It's about to get interesting. The art critic, a blogger named Sarah Chen who actually knew her stuff and had a following of 50,000 people, was examining the painting much more closely than anyone else. She pulled out a small magnifying glass, studying the corner where I'd hidden my signature. Interesting, she said loudly enough that nearby conversations stopped. Very interesting indeed. The crowd quieted, sensing drama. This signature technique, Sarah continued, still examining the painting, it's quite distinctive. I've seen it before in other work. She turned to Travis with a puzzled expression. Mr. Colby, when exactly did you say you painted this? Last year, late summer. Why do you ask? Because this signature style matches Eliot March's work exactly. In fact, she pointed to the corner with her magnifying glass. That appears to be Eliot March's actual signature, hidden in the brushwork. It's his specific technique. He's been doing it for 15 years. I'd recognize it anywhere. Every head in the room swiveled, half to the painting, half to me, standing at the back with Miguel. Travis's face went through several shades of red. That's impossible. This is my painting. I painted it myself. Is it? Sarah pulled out her phone, showing photos of my other work to the people crowding around. Same technique, same signature style, identical brushwork patterns. Mr. March, would you care to comment? I walked forward slowly through the parting crowd, savoring every single second. That's my painting. Blue Morning. I finished it 6 months ago in my studio. He's lying. Sienna stepped forward, her voice shrill. Travis bought that painting from whom, exactly? I pulled out my phone, showing the photographs Mrs. Fenn and I had so carefully documented. Because here's the original submission form with my forged signature. Here's the painting in my studio at various stages of completion. Here are progress photos from every single stage of creation, all time-stamped and dated. Would you like to see more? The room erupted. Voices overlapped. Accusations, questions, gasps of shock. Someone started recording on their phone, then everyone started recording. Travis grabbed my shirt, his face purple with rage. You son of a... Careful, I said quietly, not resisting. Everyone's watching. Everyone's recording. Do you really want to add assault to fraud? He shoved me anyway. I let myself stumble back, let everyone see him lose control while I stayed perfectly calm. Security intervened within seconds. Travis was escorted out, shouting threats and accusations. Sienna tried desperately to explain, to spin the situation, but the damage was done. Sarah was already typing furiously on her phone, her blog post probably going live in real time. An older woman in expensive jewelry and a kind face approached me. Mr. March, I'm Catherine Whitmore. I'm very interested in purchasing your painting. The real one, with your real signature. Would $30,000 be acceptable? The aftermath was glorious chaos. Sarah's blog post went viral within hours, picked up by art news sites and local media. Sienna's gallery became instantly infamous for all the wrong reasons. Investors pulled out, scheduled artists canceled their shows, her reputation was destroyed. Travis's investment company dropped him as a partner after the story broke. His family threatened to cut him off. His Porsche got egged by someone who'd seen the viral videos. Their relationship imploded spectacularly in a series of increasingly public arguments that made the local news twice. Jules, Sienna's best friend and fellow gallery owner, called me a week later. "Eliot, we need to talk, in person." We met at a coffee shop downtown. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. "Sienna asked me to lie for her," Jules said without preamble. "To say I witnessed Travis buying that painting from you months ago, to back up their story. I told her no. Thank you for that. There's more." She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. "Last week they came to my penthouse. They didn't know my security system was running. They recorded themselves, Eliot, planning how to destroy you." She played the audio. Sienna and Travis, their voices clear, discussing in detail how to sue me for defamation, how to spread rumors about my mental health, how to make sure I'd never sell another painting anywhere in the city, how to ruin me completely. "Can I have a copy of that recording?" I asked calmly. "Already sent it to your email, and to Sarah Chen, and to 3 other art bloggers." Jules looked at me with something like awe. I'm sorry I didn't see it before. What she was really like. Mrs. Fenn helped me organize everything into an airtight case. Documents, photographs, audio recordings, timestamps, witnesses. We built something that couldn't be argued with or explained away, then sent it to every art blogger, critic, gallery owner, and news outlet in the city. The response was immediate and devastating. Sienna's gallery closed within 5 days. Travis's remaining investors sued him for misrepresenting his credentials and background. Their faces were everywhere, not as the sophisticated art world power couple they'd wanted to be, but as frauds. Cheaters. Thieves who'd tried to steal credit from a struggling artist. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Galleries wanted my work. Collectors wanted commissions. The local art school offered me a teaching position with actual benefits. Catherine Whitmore bought 3 more paintings and introduced me to her wealthy friends. Sienna showed up at the studio one final time, 3 weeks after the gallery opening. She looked smaller somehow, diminished, wearing jeans and a t-shirt instead of her usual designer clothes. "You destroyed everything I built," she said quietly. "No, you destroyed everything you built. I just made sure everyone could see what you'd really built it on. Lies and theft and contempt for the person who loved you." "We were married, Eliot. 15 years. That has to mean something." It did mean something, past tense. "Then you spent 8 months sleeping with Travis while planning to steal my work and humiliate me publicly. I'd say we're even now." "I never meant for it to go this far. I never meant—" "Yes, you did. You meant every single bit of it. You just didn't mean to get caught. There's a difference." She left without another word. The divorce papers arrived 2 days later. I signed them immediately. 6 months later, I stood in my own gallery opening. My own show, my own name on the wall in letters that didn't make me feel invisible anymore. 23 paintings sold in the first hour. Catherine Whitmore bought 5 more and commissioned a large piece for her corporate headquarters. Miguel raised his glass of actually good champagne. "To the underdog who learned to bite back." "To the underdog," I echoed, grinning. Mrs. Fenn appeared beside us, elegant in a navy dress. "I'm proud of you, Eliot. You fought smart instead of fighting angry. That's rare." "I had an excellent teacher." Across the room, I saw Sarah Chen interviewing someone for her blog. She caught my eye and nodded with respect. The art world had long memories. Sienna and Travis were finished in this city, probably finished in this entire region. Not because I'd destroyed them, but because they'd destroyed themselves. I just made sure everyone was watching when they did it. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You'll pay for this. Both of you will pay." I deleted it without responding and blocked the number. Some people never learn. Some people never stop being bullies, even when they've lost everything. But I had learned. I'd learned that being invisible had been partly my choice, my acceptance of how Sienna saw me. I'd learned that being the underdog didn't mean being powerless. I'd learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't violence or destruction. It's simply letting people see the truth clearly. I raised my glass to my own painting on the wall. Blue Morning, finally hanging under my own name in my own show. Turns out, revenge really is more valuable than art. But art that gets revenge? That's absolutely priceless. The end, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching